Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Greatest Royal Rumble, more like greatest controversy. I'm Ollie Davis, this is Luke Owen. Welcome to WrestleRamble, where we are just 7 or 6 days out from the biggest Royal Rumble match in history. It's more Rumble than ever, it's more greatest than ever. It's the greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view or network special.
House show.
Most expensive house show ever on the WWE Network.
I mean, have you seen the stage?
Yes, it looks like a mini Mania.
I tell you what, here's the word on the stage is, so if you haven't seen it, it's on today's, no, sorry, not today's, today we recorded it. If you go back to Thursday's news episode, you can see the stage designs on there. So these stage designs were sort of leaked earlier this year, and the people that are really like into WWE set designs, and that's like what their Twitter profiles are designed for, I guess.
They're out there.
Obsessive over that. Everyone thought it was a WrestleMania design because it's so huge and grand. Everyone was like, oh, that must be the WrestleMania entranceway.
It's remarkable because you say Saudi Arabia to me, and I think one thing, and that's subtlety. and they have completely blown me away by doing this enormous set. I remember seeing these images about a month ago, actually, when they first surfaced. And yeah, like you said, and I was like, no, those are fake. Because when I saw them, they were, oh, look, here's the greatest Royal Rumble set. It was like the schematics. And the consensus was, don't be ridiculous. It's not even a pay-per-view. But now they're building it.
Ginormous. I reckon we're going to get 2 shows this year with Pyro.
Wow. I mean, that's when you know WWE are in the money.
It's because they're pushing the Pyro. They're pushing the Pyro boat out.
So the controversy relates to 2 things on this show. Multiple things. There's loads of things that are possibly controversial, but we're going to focus in on 2 of them. The first one is the more fun and ridiculous one, because that's what we really like, and that is the saga of Rusev.
It's fitting that we're opening with the silly one, because I've just noticed that, like, I mean, obviously you viewers can't see this and listeners, but if we just look out the window of our recording, we've just got Conrad Thompson and Bruce Pritchard looking back at us from the show on the network.
Yeah, it's on your monitor, and it is looking directly at us. Like, that's our mirror image. We're looking into the future.
I just caught
of wrestling podcasting when we get old.
Yeah, just all done on Skype. I just caught it out of the I just saw it out of the corner of my eye there. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail that.
It's fine. It's good motivation because we're coming for you, Pritchard. We're the better show, but it's an excellent show.
It is an excellent show.
Really enjoy it, actually.
Yeah. just take things with a pinch of salt, but it is an excellent show.
So yes, this is So this started off when it was 10 days ago. Not Wednesday just gone, but the Wednesday before, WWE, so after post-WrestleMania week, WrestleMania had just happened 2 days ago, and WWE just decided to start spunky match announcements.
Didn't they
huge WWE returns. We got hey, Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, and Daniel Bryan are all going to be in the 50-man Battle Royal. And we're going to have Triple H versus John Cena. Huge matches. And then also, we're going to have Undertaker versus Rusev. So it's like, okay, that one and done thing at WrestleMania with John Cena wasn't a one and done thing. Undertaker's back for at least one more time. Imagine if this is the last match ever for The Undertaker.
What a bizarre little end to his run he's had.
It's an epilogue, I think.
Yeah, and an unnecessary epilogue. A bit like, I mean, I haven't seen Return of the King, but I've heard that's got a lot of pointless epilogues as well.
Yeah, a few, yeah.
So perhaps this is The Undertaker's Return of the King. It's like, I had my retirement at WrestleMania last year, but then I came back for a 30-second match with John Cena, and then I buried, quite literally and possibly figuratively, Rusev in Saudi Arabia.
And then later on, he makes his version of the Hobbit movies an unexpected cash grab. So this was announced on the Wednesday. The following day, Rusev and Lana are getting out of their car, and TMZ Sports, excellent journalists as they are what do you think about the
Vultures
the match, the Undertaker match? Yeah, but they play up to it. Mm-hmm. And Rusev said, I'm still in my prime. I feel like The Undertaker is a bit past his prime. And then the guy is like, are you going to retire The Undertaker? And Rusev goes, I don't know. Lana, am I? And Lana goes, Rusev, yes, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Very campy fun. TMZ run this with the headline, Rusev, quote but not a quote, he never said anything even remotely like this, I'm going to crush Undertaker's old ass and retire him.
Because TMZ are vultures.
And Michelle McCool tweets this and goes, effectively show some respect to you, young ruffian.
Exactly.
Undertaker's
replying to that tweet without actually listening to the interview itself, just replying to the headline.
So, I mean, this is a pretty 2018 story already.
Yep.
People getting angry about things. And then to make it even more 2018, everyone on Twitter was like, hey, whoa, Michelle, cool the hell down. He's obviously just working a match. Michelle goes, I know I'm working as well. We're in the wrestling business.
Yeah.
We've got thick skin. Well, you would have thought that. But apparently, according to Brad Shepard of Bodyslam.net, who broke the XFL return story late last year and a few other bits, has said, well, someone in the office got worried that The Undertaker was offended, and within a day, within 24 hours of the original announcement, within just a few hours of Michelle McCool's tweet, Rusev had been pulled from that announced match, and Chris Jericho was now going to face Undertaker.
What a bizarre few days it was. Because I'll be honest with you, the first part of this story, Rusev versus The Undertaker in a casket match, was met with me, I went, what? What? How did we come to this conclusion?
They started at 11. That's weird enough by itself.
It's universe mode on WWE. It's like 2K. It's just universe mode. Just Sergeant Slaughter may as well be in the match. Why not? Hillbilly Jim just announced
Special
him
guest referee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why not? It was the bizarrest thing. And then the following day, it's like, oh yeah, now Rusev's out of the match and Chris Jericho's there. And then, lo and behold, Rusev gets put back into the match and Jericho's just back into the Royal Rumble. What a bizarre few days it was.
So that was Tuesday this week. Rusev is just unceremoniously put back in. And
but this also tied into, because there were reports last year that Rusev and Lana were asking for their release and they wanted to get out of the company. And then that all sort of quietened down. And then after Rusev got taken out of the casket match at Greatest Royal Rumble, those stories came back again that Rusev was looking to get released, and he changed his Twitter profile. He removed all mentions of WWE, removed all pictures of himself in wrestling, and was basically just like, hey, I think there was even something like he posted up how to book him for wrestling matches around the world, and everyone was like, oh my god, Rusev is leaving WWE. Then a couple of days later, he's just announced back for Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a theme of 2018, or at least 34 through to 35. And that is, WWE go through phases of how they treat wrestling news and wrestling media that isn't their own. And that is flat out denying their existence. Then they refute everything that is said. And then they just toy with them.
Yeah, well,
and then they go back to denying the existence.
I feel that there has been and this is me with the tinfoil hat on, but I do feel that this has been sort of a memo was sent out to every wrestler that just said, reference Dave Meltzer, reference wrestling journalists, reference the dirt sheet, but in a very derogatory manner. Because it just feels like in the last couple of weeks, a lot of WWE wrestlers have been mentioning the Observer, but saying it doesn't matter, it's not important. Because Ricochet put out a tweet saying this nobody gave Velveteen Dream his first 5-star match in WWE, and then Velveteen Dream replied to that saying that doesn't matter. No one cares about Meltzer. No one cares about star ratings. Everyone just cares about matches. Bray Wyatt was tweeting about how Dave Meltzer reported the story. And it's barely Dave Meltzer reporters. Dave Meltzer put something. An idea has been thrown out. Ideas are thrown out all the time. It's just a lot of them don't ever get used.
So I think that's definitely part of it. I don't think you have to have a silver foil hat on for this. But I also think that
silver foil, eh?
I don't know what I'm really pricey. I'm really
You are, right?
Yeah, with my gold foil hats.
Your platinum hat.
That's how you stop the government getting in. Least reactive material possible.
That's why the ones with the tinfoil hats still get brainwashed.
Yeah. Sheeple with your aluminum.
Yeah.
But also, like, you've got the story of Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon working people backstage. Some say even working Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
Because Shane McMahon... But I hear that story... And I hear, well, no, you're working me again.
Yeah.
Shane McMahon's working us by work. It's all a work, brother. And I feel like we're going to get a lot of stories this year of stuff happening backstage. And the report that Bray Wyatt referenced in the Wrestling Observer was Dave Meltzer's line, the idea has been pitched for Bray Wyatt to turn on Matt Hardy as the new leader of Sanity. That was reported 4 days before Sanity debuted on the opposite brand.
Mm-hmm.
I get from that, WWE have kind of figured out who some of Meltzer's sources are and intentionally funneling crap that way.
Yeah.
And seeing what happens.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we talked about this with Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated. I genuinely believe that he is being fed duff information on purpose. Things like Rey Mysterio will be John Cena's WrestleMania opponent. Rey Mysterio will be Braun's tag team partner. Dolph Ziggler's contract details. I think that he is purposefully being fed duff information, and because it comes from Sports Illustrated, it feels like it's a legit source. And then I feel really bad for Justin Barrasso off the back of that. And I thought about this the other day because it all seems to stem from the Corey Graves Booker T thing, where Corey and Booker T just sort of made up their own story. They made up this backstage heat between the two, and then went on Booker T's radio show to be like, "Hey, look, we just worked everyone." And my first reaction was like, "Cool."
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna sell a ticket.
Yeah, okay. Like, I'm cool, I guess.
It's all quite fun though. Like we're trying to figure out the very closed shop of wrestling and wrestling like, haha, you can't figure us out because we're just making stuff up. That's our job. We make stuff up.
And I forgot about the JBL tweet the other week where he said like the reason why everything was so unpredictable in the 90s was because everyone was feeding Dave Meltzer duff information. Problem with that tweet is if you go back and read 90s newsletters, you just read that everything Dave Meltzer reported basically happened.
Anyway, this particular Taker Rusev story, Brad Shepard said that they found out that Taker was in no way offended, so they booked it back on. But then a few other places have said Vince just changed his mind.
Which, to me, sounds more likely.
It could be either. I don't think one's more likely than the other.
Well, maybe not.
So, yes, that's one bit of controversy for the greatest Royal Rumble. So let's go through the greatest Royal Rumble card. We won't give our predictions because... I mean, let's just give a line on each one. This is an insanely stacked card.
Well, you can tell that they are getting a lot of money for this show. This WWE and are being paid a heck of a lot of money for this show, and because of that, they are trying to put on the biggest spectacle. Like, this feels like a bigger spectacle than WrestleMania.
No,
at
it
this
doesn't.
Point. You reckon?
That's hyperbole.
You reckon?
Yeah, this WrestleMania is. Definitely bigger.
What about WrestleMania? What about the WrestleMania card this year made it feel more like a spectacle than this greatest Royal Rumble?
Ronda Rousey, Daniel Bryan's return, the first match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
It's not the first match, though, is it?
I know, but first Universal title defense.
Maybe.
So let's start with what we were just talking about. Rusev versus The Undertaker. And this is the crazy thing. It's not just a big singles matches. A lot of them have big stipulations attached to them. In a casket match.
Yeah, in a casket.
So Rusev's winning here, right?
Well, of course not.
Undertaker, I think we're both going for. John Cena and Triple H in a singles match.
Because, I guess so. And this is kind of what I mean. It's just like they just feel like they're just pulling as many names as they possibly can to make this feel like. I mean, they're having a 50-man Royal Rumble for that's an insane thing. But I think Cena's winning. I'd say that Cena wins.
Cena wasn't even on the draft shows, the Superstar Shake-Up.
That's a good point.
And he's on this. It just shows you how much money is involved here. And I imagine John Cena is very over in that part of the world. Mm-hmm. John Cena and Roman Reigns seem to be very popular there. Cedric Alexander versus to be determined because Buddy Murphy failed to make weight.
Really?
Yes, he's a smidgen over 205 pounds.
Oh, what a work.
Well, it's a nice attention to
Love
detail.
that. That's really cool.
Good. So the speculation is Mustafa Ali is going to win the sort of the match to crown the number one contender, and maybe he might even take the title there because, I mean, he's not from the Middle East.
He's from Chicago.
He's from Chicago, but
he's got Middle East heritage.
Yeah, that's the way they like to do things.
Gender.
Jinder or gender? Jinder Mahal.
Jinder Mahal.
The Bludgeon Brothers taking on the Usos for the tag team titles. So a lot of these matches are for titles as well.
There's 7 title matches on the card.
I think Bludgeon Brothers got to retain there.
I'd say so.
Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy versus Cesaro and Sheamus. And this is... So we're going to get a new champion at least because this is for the vacant Raw tag team titles.
Yes, so one would assume it will be Bray and Matt. However, as we said on the SmackDown review, there is always that chance that the Bar could win and then have the titles on SmackDown for, I mean, it would only be like a week or so before then you have Backlash because everyone's on the pay-per-views together now. So there is an opportunity now for titles to kind of switch brands a lot more, I guess.
Usually I'd hate that, but I think it does make it kind of chaotic. I quite like the sound of it. As in this next match, Jeff Hardy, the United States champion on SmackDown, defending against Raw's Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Cool.
I don't know how that's going to play out. The Middle East is not India. But I don't know how WWE's mindset works.
I was going to say, they might
not
know that.
They just see that part of the globe and go, well, yeah, okay, he's going over.
Yeah, very well could do.
But at the same time, WWE hate having people win in their home. And maybe if they think that's his home, even though he's Canadian. So what's going on?
Exactly. It'd be interesting as well because I kind of hope that Jeff retains because someone pointed out to me on Twitter the other day, there have been the number of United States champions we've had quite recently is large, and they've all had very short reigns.
They've all been AJ Styles and Kevin Owens.
And, pretty much. They've all had very short reigns, and all of those reigns have been mostly pointless. Bobby Roode's reign was mostly pointless. Dolph Ziggler had it and then gave it up, which was pointless. Then Randy had it, but then he lost it, so it was mostly pointless. Then Jinder won it at WrestleMania, then lost it 10 days later, rendering it mostly pointless.
Yeah, well, maybe now's the time. There's something's going to happen. Although there is Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus The Miz versus Samoa Joe for the Intercontinental title.
It's a Raw v SmackDown match.
Yeah, so you've got Miz and Joe, who are of course SmackDown talents, and Rollins and Balor, who are Raw. So we could see Hardy lose the United States belt, but a Miz or a Joe win the Intercontinental title and bring that over the SmackDown. And The Miz could very well do that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because he's trying to rack up the rain days.
And also wanting to go back to my hyperbolic statement of it being a bigger spectacle than WrestleMania. This is what you've always wanted. It's a ladder match.
I didn't even see that.
It's a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. This is what you've been asking for.
I love ladder matches. My lady partner hates them. She's like, just climb faster.
My wife can't stand them because, quote unquote, they go too long.
AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. What a laugh it would be if the title changed hands here and they had a 5-star match. Is it Jeddah? Jeddah's the Saudi Arabian place, right?
Maybe. I mean, tinfoil hat, silver foil hat. Vince McMahon just grabbed them before they walked out of WrestleMania and was like, you don't put on a good match, god damn it, because we've got the greatest Royal Rumble company in Saudi Arabia. You save your 5-star classic for that show, god damn it.
And then if it is a 5-star match, we can say, yeah, but it's not in Jeddah. Dave Meltzer would... Tokyo Dome and Jeddah, that's where Dave Meltzer likes his wrestling. Then Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns inside a steel cage.
Salad steel cage.
Feud that in no way needs a steel cage.
Nope. But
what of this feud?
But it's a big show, and a big spectacle needs a big cage match because that. It's the 80s promoter in Vince McMahon. It's just what's the biggest match that we have? A steel cage match. Yeah. Get the big blue cage up around it. That'd be great. Put Bundy in there.
I guess you can kind of say their matches often do spill outside the ring, so there's that. You want to contain it. I don't know. But, of all the title changes, I think this...
There is every chance...
Tinfoil hat.
Yeah, there's every chance that Roman Reigns could win here because he'll get a better reaction there than he would have done in New Orleans.
Brock is free to move on and do whatever he wants, maybe come back for a SummerSlam match against Lashley with no title involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because the other side of it is that Lesnar can't do anything in UFC-wise anyway until he's re-entered into the USADA pool, and I don't think he's re-entered yet. And once you've re-entered, you have to be in there for 6 months before you can be signed onto any sort of fight. So there's like a good 6 to 8 months there, depending on when he decides to sign up and go back into the pool, where he's not doing anything. So he might just want to work wrestling matches, WWE matches, and earn a bit of money, because the reported rumor is that it's not a short-term deal, it's not a long-term deal, it's somewhere in the middle.
I thought you were going to say, it's the deal.
It's somewhere in the middle where he's just being paid per appearance by WWE when and if they need him.
What does that pool look like? Just loads of jacked up MMA guys releasing the steroids out their system in a little paddling pool.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
what I see whenever anyone says USADA testing pool. And then we have, for the main event possibly...
I would have thought it was the main event.
A 50-man Royal Rumble match. So that is a 10-match card in total. One of those matches is easily an hour long.
Yeah.
Like, easily. Even if you go for 30-second entrance.
John Cena versus Triple H, right?
Oh, my God. Yeah, and that's going to be a barnstorm.
I mean, that will go, no kidding, that will go at least half an hour, 40 minutes.
Let's have a look at the entrance so far, as confirmed by WWE.com. Daniel Bryan, Braun Strowman, Big Show making his WWE return. Kurt Angle, he doesn't wrestle very often. Chris Jericho making his WWE return. Elias, Baron Corbin, Big E, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Apollo Crews, Shelton Benjamin.
Who's got his surname again?
Yes, Sin Cara, Chad Gable, Goldust, Titus O'Neil, Mojo Rawley, and Dolph Ziggler.
Yes. However, if you go to WWE.com's WWE Network advertisement page, you essentially can see everyone who is going to be in that Royal Rumble match, because there is just a massive sea of people, and that includes everyone else who was on the card and other names like Breezango and some other people that you can kind of spot onto there, and 3 or 4 surprise entrants that have yet to be announced officially for this, because they are featured in the image. One of which, spoilers, so skip forward if you don't want any spoilers here, is Rey Mysterio. You know,
Who are the other 3?
The other 3, Mark Henry.
Right.
He's also advertising there. Shane McMahon.
Wow.
And the Great Khali.
Of course.
Great Khali is on the poster. He's just at the side there. So those are 4 names, 4 big names, big returns, I suppose you could call them. Mark Henry hasn't been in a match for, well, I can't remember the last time Mark Henry had a match.
Hall of Famer Mark Henry.
Shane McMahon only wrestles on Big 4 pay-per-views. The Great Khali hasn't been in a WWE ring for years. Obviously came back last year for Battleground to help Jinder retain against Randy Orton in the Punjabi prison match. God, do you remember those times? Oh, the good old days, weren't they?
Well, that was when SmackDown was the A show.
It really was. And
it was a show.
It was a show. And then Reg Mysterio making his long-reported WWE return. He's been rumoured to be in talks for a long time now.
So, a crazy lineup and a long card. I wonder how long it's actually going to be in total.
It's going to go 4 hours at the very least.
But you might have noticed a certain type of wrestler missing from all of those matches.
Yeah.
And that is, of course, lady people.
Lady people are...
Lady people are not permitted to wrestle on the show. In fact, in Saudi Arabia, lady people are not permitted to compete in sports.
No. Lady people aren't allowed to do a lot of things there. Although they are now allowed to drive.
Yes, that was... so apparently Mohammed bin Salam, MBS, who's the crown prince over there. I think I'm getting this all right. He is trying to get...
westernized.
Saudi Arabian morality up to Western's morality, which involves letting women do the same things that men do. And that's a plan for 2030, but of course society change takes a long time. So
yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, so but there's no women on the show, and also women aren't allowed to attend the event unless accompanied by a man.
Yes.
So there's all these complicated things.
And even then, I think you have to go into certain sections within
the...
There are certain permitted areas within the arena that women are allowed to be, and other areas where they are not.
Yeah. So this is... So that is wrong. That is quite objectively wrong.
Yeah. You would have to work very hard to convince me that is a good thing.
Yes. And I had a discussion with my lady partner, and she was saying, because she's not a wrestling fan, she was like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Are you angry with WWE for doing this? And I was in my cynicism, I was just sitting there, I was like, yeah, but I imagine they're getting loads and loads of money. Yeah. And she said, very rightly, but this is the one that you said keeps on doing the women's revolution stuff and all this, and that's all their PR. And I said, and I laughed, and I went, yeah, they do that. It's really annoying. And because it's become white noise. Women's revolution, Stephanie McMahon, yada yada yada. It just washes over me like this thing, like how we all agree that superstar shakeup is a term that's okay to say. And then she was saying this to me, and I kind of thought, no, you're totally right.
Yeah.
This is an abhorrent, hypocritical move. I'd almost be okay with it if you just did the show, but you didn't have this narrative that you're pushing down everyone's throats all the time. But to have that contradiction there of saying we're all about women's rights and really focusing on the women's division and a long overdue upgrade of women's wrestling within the promotion, and then you're putting on a paid-for event, like whoring yourself out, essentially like this, to Saudi Arabia, where their morals and ethics are a complete contradiction to that. It's really problematic.
I mean, there's a sentence here that is absolutely it's unreal when you sort of read it. Where did you get this sentence from?
This is just from a few places.
Yeah, it is also worth remembering that this is a country that imposes the death penalty on members of the LGBT community. So Sonya Deville probably doesn't want to go over there too.
Yes.
She's probably not in a rush to head over. Due to the laws being heavily influenced by the conservative...
fair play. It's if you're caught twice.
Oh, is it if you're caught
twice?
Yeah, so
right. Everyone gets one.
You get one strike. Yeah, 2 strikes and you're out. So it is kind of incredible that WWE are trying to push themselves to this very progressive company. But yet, kind of, this feels like a gigantic step backwards in that, because they are just doing this because it's clearly a massive payday for everyone. But it's a massive payday for some in the company, and not everyone.
At what cost?
Exactly, at what cost? Like, what does this do to your reputation to say, like, we're doing all of this for women's wrestling, but we are also doing this show where women are just not allowed on that show?
It'll do nothing to their reputation.
You reckon?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
it will do nothing, and that's a real shame. It's just a really cynical, hypocritical thing to do.
Yeah.
It's very very nasty and mean-spirited, and it just exposes everything they say as two-sided nonsense.
I was going to say, remember that 24 documentary they did, what was it, Empowerment or whatever the nonsense they called it, and they were showing the footage of the match that they did between Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss, where everyone was chanting, "This is hope," and you got Stephanie McMahon going like, and when they chanted, "This is progress," and I was like, they're not at a progress show, and they was like, "This is hope," and she's like, it really, like, it drives us to do more. Apart from when we go to Saudi Arabia, but then we'll do more after that.
So it's and for everyone who's watching, going, yeah, but it's wrestling, like, and there's credence to that. But just imagine, and this is what I keep going back to. Imagine if WWE said publicly and made the same level of deal about it as they usually spend promoting themselves with the "did you know" facts and the video packages. They said, we were offered this, and we're not going to take it. In fact, we are taking a public stance against countries like this or any other organisations that want paid shows who don't allow women to wrestle. Yeah. Imagine if they did that and you're like, oh, actually, no, this is more than just wrestling. That would be a huge, very noble thing to do for a very prominent company that has a worldwide reach.
Yes.
They're not really interested in change, because they could have actually probably changed something here, but they have not done that. However, tickets seem pretty reasonable. $2 you can get a ticket for.
Well, no, but how? I suppose, yeah. I was going to say, is that translated from like money translation of like how much they're actually paying for that ticket there? But in American money, that only costs you $2.
Why the Saudi Arabian economy is really weird, because a lot of doesn't everyone get a share of the oil reserves?
Oh, you're asking questions I
as
do
well.
Not
so
know. I do not know.
So and you don't pay much tax. So I don't know. But $80 for VIP tickets. What comes with a VIP ticket, you might ask? Free food, coffee, tea, soda, and other refreshments.
Wow.
That's not bad.
Do you get to meet everyone?
Get delivered to your seat.
Oh, right. Okay, well, yeah. I mean, that doesn't sound too bad at all, really, does it?
Well, it makes it worth it.
For $80.
It's time for a few mailbag questions. Of course, this is the new format of our Saturday show, because usually we used to split these things across Saturday and Monday, but now we've got the separate Raw and SmackDown reviews. We're going to have this as our news and mailbag and crap gimmicks and just fun stuff show.
It's a new era. Although because we went long on Greatest Royal Rumble stuff, we're going to skip. What is wrong with me? We're going to skip straight to the mailbag. First
Yeah,
up.
because Luke's malfunctioning, it seems.
Malfunctioning. First, so if you do want to send us an email, all you have to do is become a pledge hammer. Become a pledge hammer by donating to us on Patreon. Patreon backers get to then send us questions which become our mailbag. Some of these mailbag questions are held over from last week, but here are some other mailbag questions we have. First up, from Marcel Drewer. Hey guys, I'm very happy for WrestleTalk's success. With the 500k day, you've managed to expand the WrestleTalk family with new members such as Grado and Joe Hendry, but still WrestleTalk feels more like a two-man show to me. Maybe that's a good thing because it creates more intimate atmosphere for me as a viewer and podcast listener. But sometimes, even before 500k day, you've mentioned on a few occasions that there are other people working at WrestleTalk. My question is, who are they? What are they doing? Do they have faces? Maybe you two can share some insights.
It's horrible to see our faceless people. Just walking around with no features, no eyes.
Like that bit in the Black Mirror episode, which is a parody of Star Trek, and he just takes away her face.
Yeah.
Spoilers. That's a great, terrifying moment.
It's horrible. It's horrible to see someone. Yeah. So I mean, that's all we can answer really. No, it's myself and Luke. And we've got two editors who also edit stuff for us. We don't often see them though. We just send our videos off into the ether.
They work remotely. Basically, it's just you and I in the studio 80 to 90% of the time.
And then like you said, because we were kind of aware that any additions to the channel would annoy people. Any change to the channel, I'm really scared about changing the set. We're planning on changing the WrestleRamble set.
Do you know what? It's so funny. So Vinny Shui, the guy who does like those the GIFs and those little short videos you see
really
on
good.
Twitter, very good. He sent across one that he did that was based on the very first videos that we did, the WrestleMania 33 prediction videos. And there's a point at the end of the video where you say, hey, if you like Luke being here, let us know in the comments, share and, like the video because we'd like to do more things. And then and this is more or less a quote, I know the general reaction on YouTube when something is different is to instantly dislike it, but try and give this a chance.
Yes, well, it's most people's and my own sometimes default position to anything. Like when I saw something else to wrestle with, I was like, I don't like this. They haven't changed anything, and I realised the only thing they've changed is that I can now see them. That it's not a podcast going into my ears.
Yeah.
Like, why have they changed this? They haven't changed anything. So yes, but you just got to step back from that. Take a breath and realise that it's fine. But yeah, that's why they're not like here. They're more like personalities.
Yeah.
In the expanded universe.
Yeah.
These are the Avengers.
Yeah, exactly right here. This is Iron Man and Captain America.
Yeah,
everyone else is just Hawkeye.
Yeah, Hawkeye and
Vision.
I can't remember her name.
Black Widow.
No, lower than that.
Scarlet Witch.
No, lower than that. Lower than that. I can't. Hill.
Maria Hill.
Yes, they're all Maria Hill.
From Adam Gibbons, with you guys just doing a collaboration with Wrestling with Regret, would you consider doing other collab-type videos with other wrestling YouTubers in the future? I know a lot of us would like to see you guys do something with the Cultaholic chaps. A friendly prediction war, if you will. Best 2 out of 3. Anyway, keep up the hard work. Appreciate all the content you guys have put out lately. Easily my favourite channel. That's from Adam.
Oh, thank you very much,
Thank you very much, Adam.
Yes.
No, they're smelly.
Yeah, we would... It's, these cross-promotional things are always a nightmare to book.
Yeah.
Who do you put over?
Exactly. Just look at the Invasion.
Yeah. It's just...
the nightmare they had booking that thing because they really wanted to put
clashing.
WCW over in that feud.
Like, I'm thinking New Japan, All Japan, WWF co-promoted shows in the early 90s. How do you book that? I don't know.
I
don't know.
But yeah, that'd be very nice. Dan McBride of Frankenstein has said, or it is Dan McBride, isn't it? Or is it
Yes.
John McBride?
Oh, I can't
I think it's John McBride. I do apologise. I've written, I don't know because his email address is just McBride.
Danny McBride.
That's where I've got confused because I've written Danny McBride. It's John McBride of Frankenstein. John Cena has won a lot of people over, but remember, he buried Damien Sandow. That is unforgivable in my opinion. The way it happened was so over the top. Just had to vent about that. Now to the modern day. How is the best way to...
It's not even his question.
No, how is the best way to reintroduce...
It's not even related to his question.
How is the best way to reintroduce Dean Ambrose after the brand split? I still think the best way is to have him turn on Roman and Seth, since I know WWE don't want to turn Roman. He should come back and cost them something big, but what do you think? Love you guys. Hashtag Swap Nation. Hashtag Pledge Hammer. Hashtag $50. Hashtag more Ramble than ever.
Oh, nice one. Thank you, Dan McBride.
I think it's also worth remembering that John Cena didn't bury Damien Sandow.
Damien Sandow buried Damien Sandow.
The booking buried Damien Sandow, really. It wasn't like John Cena was just like, no, well, I'm just gonna bury this chap right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot on him, not let him successfully cash in his Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Because that's how it went down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I remember that being a pretty decent match.
It was a great
I
match,
was really into it. And it was the kind of match where I didn't expect Damien Sandow to win.
Yeah.
Because didn't he call it out in advance?
I think he might have done, yeah.
It was something like that. John gave him a lot in that match.
Certainly did.
And yeah.
But to the question.
Dean Ambrose, what is the best way? I mean, everyone in the Shield is currently a heel. No, a face.
Steady.
And the only guy who hasn't turned heel is the one who needs to turn heel the most. I don't know. It's weird how little I miss Dean Ambrose.
It's bizarre, isn't it? Considering that one of the big WrestleMania matches was meant to be Dean versus Seth.
And I was super into their team, like all the reluctant fist bump stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm almost sort of glad it was Rollins, Balor, and Miz.
No, I think Rollins and Dean would have been a better match, just from the emotion, the history there. I don't know. I'm a bit uninspired about Dean.
I'd imagine him coming back and turning on Seth is the most sensible option, I guess, because that was the direction they wanted to take it in anyway. So just pick up the pace, and you just turn into a storyline that, hey, like, I was gone. The first thing you did was find a new friend. Like, I'm clearly nothing to you, and maybe do it that way.
But not as wacky Dean.
Not as wacky Dean.
Sort of psychotic Dean is what I want to see.
Craig Roberts writes, with Alberto El Patron no longer with Impact Wrestling, could you see him returning to either WWE or signing with New Japan or Ring of Honor and being part of the Bullet Club show All In September?
I can't see his lifestyle and track record fitting in with New Japan or Ring of Honor.
No.
And then by extension Bullet Club either. It's just, like he's no-showed a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of controversy, and even if he's totally blameless for all of it, you got to look at a guy as a promoter and go, I don't even want the headache.
Yeah, exactly.
And from what I understand about New Japan, it is quite an honor-based thing. Like they're very respectful of each other. And I'm sure Alberto's very respectful to people in real life, but I just can't see him getting past the sort of image that's been created about him and by him, I suppose. WWE, I think he's going to go back there because Vince McMahon loves his act.
The story is that Vince McMahon loves Alberto, and that's why he's got his second run essentially, and won the United States Championship on his first night back. But it wasn't a run that particularly worked. That was the Mex America run, wasn't it?
My God,
with Zeb Coulter. So I could see Alberto going back to WWE. Would I want to see him go back, though, is a different matter. I think I'm kind of over the Alberto thing, to be honest. Yeah. Kevin Chappell writes, I had a mouth-watering concept to ask you guys about in the mailbag. Sort of a fantasy booking warfare scenario. How would you guys feel about You all right? Oh, sorry, you're listening. I thought you were looking puzzled. How would you guys feel about a 4-person stable featuring Braun Strowman, Authors of Pain, and Shayna Baszler? I personally would love to see the chaotic meat fest these people would create together. Perhaps it's a bit much to ask, but I'd love to see it happen personally. Anyway, thanks to you, Oli, and the WrestleTalk crew for the amazing work you do in all formats. I truly love you guys in a very platonic and non-creepy way.
What's wrong with totally not platonic and very creepy.
Exactly.
Bring back the very creepy forms of love. That's what I say.
So how would you feel about a team of Braun Strowman, the Authors of Pain, and Shayna Baszler?
I would feel very down on it. I'm sorry, Kevin.
Yeah.
I think that's a terrible idea.
Do you remember?
It's a really bad idea. It's too much. None of them need each other.
Yeah.
They'll cancel each other out in similarities.
You remember when Punk was on Colt Cabana's podcast and he was talking about how he effectively came up with the Shield?
Yes.
And because WWE came up to him and said, hey, we want to put you in a faction. And they said, like, and here's, I can't remember who else was in the team, but they said, like, Big Show is going to be your big guy in the thing. And if it's not Big Show, then it'll be Kane. And Punk was like, I'm not really down for either of those ideas. And I remember listening to that being like, that would have been awful.
Yeah.
Like, Punk and Big Show or Kane, that doesn't feel right to me. And then his idea instead was to bring up 3 guys from NXT, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Cassius Ohno. That was his 3 original picks. Then they said, no, we're not doing Cassius, but we will do Roman instead.
Seen Cassius Ohno's in Progress's Super Strong style tournament.
I did not know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
DJ Death, in your review, I like this question. In your review of the NXT TakeOver New Orleans ladder match, you both proclaimed it was perfection in not so few words. Yet when Oli whipped out the douchebag scale, it wasn't 5 stars. Question is, what would have made it 5 stars? Maybe move it to Japan?
Jeddah. Saudi Arabia. That would make it a 5-star. DJ Death, don't call out a man's inconsistencies in regard to his star ratings. It depends on so many things. Maybe the thing that would have made it, so I gave it 4.5, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe if I had a chocolate cake before watching it. These are the sort of things, the physiological things that affect my mood. Honestly, my honest answer is not having a ladder and getting rid of 4 of the people.
Well, fair enough.
I just like my personal taste. This is a subjective thing. I love ladder matches. I keep talking about it. But, like, do I think ladder matches, a 7-man ladder match, is the pinnacle of the wrestling art form? No, I don't.
Dave Meltzer does.
Well, yeah, he does, yeah. But another kind of match would be like, it would have to be, yeah. I mean, Dave Meltzer's well more versed in these things. We're getting down into the nitty-gritty. But my personal preference is for singles matches with really good stories going into it.
Well, it's kind of like we said in the Wrestle Kingdom 12 that the 4-way for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion was an awesome match. But actually, I think I would have preferred it if it was just Ospreay and Skrull.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Let's make this the last one because we got to go home. I'm sending you to go home.
Okay. Paul E. Dangerously Jarman. When the Vinster finally kicks the bucket, do you think that Triple H will have enough sway and control, given shareholders, the rest of the family, etc., to really produce a big pay-per-view just like NXT TakeOver New Orleans? This is from last weekend. NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Would it really get enough commercial interest to make it viable? Whatever your answer, why?
So you mean like a main roster pay-per-view in the style of NXT?
What he's essentially asking is, like, when Vince hands over control to Triple H and Stephanie, would he have enough sway to be able to put on an NXT caliber show on the main roster?
That's an interesting one. I don't know. Like, it could go either way because you don't know how much Triple H really believes. Like, is Triple H doing NXT, presenting NXT because he feels like that's the way wrestling should be presented, or is he doing it because he's catering for us?
Yes.
Like he could sit back and think, oh, my perfect wrestling is TNA from 2009, but that's not the edict I've been given to deliver. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I think the more time you spend on the main roster, the more you get, the more Kool-Aid you drink. And I think Triple H, by the time he takes over everything, if he takes over, he'll be more in the current way of doing things than not.
I wonder if, very little will change. I mean, we're going to see. I know that one of the stories is that he really doesn't like Kevin Dunn, and that he doesn't, and apparently Stephanie doesn't either.
It's that like their other sides of the political rift.
Yes, because they don't like the way that Kevin Dunn directs shows. So it's almost like as soon as they take over, in theory, he will be out and a new director will come in. So the shows might look different. So they won't have the constant cutting or the constant zooming. So that might disappear. will we see like the more metal influences from Triple H, because that's what he does in NXT? But that's clearly very much a Triple H thing.
Yeah,
like having live bands play these shows.
Which is great.
Which it is great, because it does feel like this sort of like gritty underground thing.
But so is Best of Both Worlds.
Exactly.
Why can't all the superstars sing songs like that before each pay-per-view on the stage?
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be very interesting to see. I mean, like the story is at the moment that one of the things he's doing down in NXT is building his crew. He's building his inner circle so that when if he takes over, he could just move that inner circle up to the main roster and they can kind of take over things.
Fascinating.
It is fascinating, yeah, because that is Shawn Michaels sort of doing training. It's Michael Cole directing commentary. It's what's his name? Former Impact guy Jeremy Borash, kind of sort of like doing creative style things, and even like
you've got the British guys, Jim Smallman,
I was going to say
Dallas,
the Progress guys and the Pro guys that he's kind of like working
William
with.
Regal.
William Regal, like, so he's kind of building this. And when I look at that crew, and I'm like, that's a cool looking crew, because apparently like this one of my favorite moments from NXT last year was done by Jim Smallman. Which was the Pete Dunne going back to help Mustache Mountain, but just grabbing his title and running away. And it was a wicked moment, because the crowd totally bought into Pete Dunne going back to help, and he just went, "No, I'm all right, mate," and just and walked off. And the crowd, he got a lot of hate for that, and it was great. And apparently it was an outside force booked there, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Not Vince dying. No, but Triple H. But there's also the Stephanie equation there. Like, would she actually have more sway and just slap Triple H down? No, stay in NXT. NXT's your toys. These are my toys.
We want the best of both worlds up on here.
Well, that's all we've got time for on today's show. We'll be back on Tuesday, remember, not Monday, for our review of Raw.
The new era of Raw.
And in the meantime, please do click the videos that have just appeared on our laps to catch up with the latest WrestleRamble or WrestleTalk awesome stuff thingies. I've been Ollie Davis, this has been Luke Owen, and that was Rambling.